Hi there, my name is Brian Dunnett, aka Mr. Tidbit. How are you? And welcome to Who Pays the Commission? Yeah, what a great question. Fun debate over the years between consumers and realtors alike. The question at hand is who is responsible for paying a realtor's commission? Now, your answer probably popped right into your mind. Okay, so show of hands for sellers, show of hands for buyers. Okay, well, let's break it down and see if you're right. Now, you're a homeowner, you're going to sell your house, you hire a realtor, you're doing your listing contract, you get down to the commission section. Make it easy here, you agree to pay 5% commission, okay? Normally split 50-50, 2.5% to your realtor and 2.5% to the buyer's realtor, okay? Now, if it happens that your realtor finds the buyer, then he'll collect both sides for the total of 5%. More times than not, a buyer's realtor is involved, probably from another brokerage office as well. And it certainly appears that come closing date, you're going to be responsible for paying not only one realtor, but both realtors in this transaction, right? So if you said sellers are responsible, then you know what? Well, you're not wrong, okay? Now, let's look at it from the buyer's side. A buyer hires a realtor. They do a contract as well. It's called buyer representation. They get down to the commission line and they agree that that buyer will pay 2.5% to his realtor, okay? Not a problem. Payable how? One of two ways. One, he can directly compensate them if he's got liquid cash, or two, the more common way, why not have that realtor be compensated from that buyer's portion from the seller's agreement with their realtor that we just talked about? Yeah, makes sense. 99% of the time, even more folks, I think it's done this way, but there's a good reason for it, and I'll tell you why. Buyers are normally saving for their closing costs and their down payment. If we also ask them to save enough to compensate their realtors directly, guess what's going to happen? Yeah, the market's going to slow down, isn't it? Because they have to wait this extended period of time to save that money before they can put pen to paper. So, is there a better way? Absolutely. Why not let the deal pay the commissions? And that's really what happens, because the way it is with the seller right now, he doesn't have any money to work with, does he? He has to get that from somewhere. Who does he get it from? The buyer. Where does the buyer get it? Well, coupled with their down payment, they're going to go to a lending institution and arrange a mortgage, more times than not. And whether they realize it or not, most buyers are not only getting enough money to compensate the seller, but also to compensate their realtor and perhaps even the seller's realtor as well. Depends on how you want to look at this. Okay? And it's very true that the buyers are involved with this scenario. And for me, you know, if we can just look at real estate like any other commodity in the world, that the expenses are already built in, okay, then it's easier to understand and you can really appreciate the logic on both sides of the equation. But there's no doubt that the buyer is involved, because here's a great line of that experts think about all the time. You know, if there is no buyer, then there is no deal. And if there is no deal, there's no commission to pay. So the buyer has to be involved, right? And when you really break that down, any homeowner can put their house on the market, but no guarantee that it's going to sell. 2 weeks into the listing, you change your mind, withdraw the house. Is there any commission to pay? No. Okay, 90 days at an inflated price, it comes off the market. Was there any commission to pay? No. Okay, there's only a commission when the buyer gives you an accepted agreement of purchase and sale that you can live with, and on closing hands you that amount of money, and from there the expenses come off. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah. Now, as I mentioned about the other commodities within the world, I'll give you a great example. Let's say you purchase a $5 container of orange juice. You don't think anything of it, but you plunk it down in your cart, you pay for it. It's amazing how many people you just compensated there with that purchase, right? Okay, even if it's just fractions of a penny. I mean, the store owner made a little bit of money. His employee made a little bit of money. The person who drove the orange juice to the store made some money. The people who manufacture the orange juice, the people who take care of the oranges in the orchards, they all, you know, got compensated. And that's the way business works, isn't it, in the world? So again, why should real estate be any different? The buyer is definitely involved when he hands over the money, then the expenses come off. Now, I really hope this has helped you to this point, but I want to take it one step further, because you might have some naysayers saying, no way, it's the seller's paying it, it's so obvious, etc. Here's an analogy that, in a nutshell, I think is brilliant. You might want to watch it twice. So let's go through it and see what you think, okay? Now, I mentioned earlier that a buyer can pay their realtor directly, right? It doesn't happen very often, but they can do it. You might not have known that. Now let's pretend that's a situation. I'm your realtor, you're the buyer. Nice simple numbers, 2% you're going to pay me. I find you a home on MLS worth $500,000, worth every bit of that. That's what the seller's looking for. It's a balanced market. You're not in a multiple offer situation, and I'm putting pen to paper for you with the offer. And I ask you, so what would you like to offer the seller? And you say, well, if it's worth 500, I guess we'll put 500. Yeah, are you really sure that you want to do that? You're looking at me strangely and thinking, well, I said, you see, if you give the seller 500 and me, in this case, 10,000, now you've $510,000. I mean, you could buy it through MLS, the original way, the common way, and only pay 500. Why would you want to pay 510? Do you see how it's making sense now, folks? Yeah. So what you're going to do here is you're going to offer the seller 490, compensate me, in this case, just 9,800 instead of 10,000, and add the two numbers, and it's almost 500 grand, okay? And it's amazing how the numbers work, but the seller will actually net more in this scenario. And when I show him this offer of 490 and he looks at me strange, I said, well, you only have to compensate your realtor, not me, because I'm getting compensated through my buyer. And he does the math, he nets out a better number. You see, through MLS at 500 at 4% is $20,000. Do the math, he nets 480, right? This way, 490,000 compensates his realtor only 2%. That's 9,800. He's actually going to be $200 ahead of the game with this new second scenario. Yeah, amazing but true. The buyer is definitely involved in paying the commission. But again, for me, I think it's 50-50. What do you think? If you have any questions, call, email, not a problem. I'll answer them. Until next time, all the best to you.